everyone, I am Vibha Chauhan and welcome to Chauhan classes Funda Clear. So today I will explain class 8 Geography Chapter 3 and our chapter is Minerals and Power Resources. Minerals and Power Resources. So in this chapter we will discuss about minerals and power resources. We will discuss what they are, what are minerals and what are power resources. We will also discuss about their types and their distribution all over the earth. We will discuss about the countries and continents that are the leading producers of those minerals and power resources that we will discuss in this chapter. So all these things we will discuss in this chapter. So let us begin our chapter. So our first topic is minerals. Minerals. You might have heard this word minerals so many times in your previous classes. So if I ask you what are minerals, then what would you answer? So minerals are any substance, any naturally occurring substance that has a definite chemical composition. So any substance that occurs naturally without any human interference and has a definite chemical composition would be a mineral. And minerals have their own characteristics. They have two types of characteristics such as that are physical characteristics and chemical characteristics. So physical characteristics like the color, like the shape, like the density or hardness, and chemical characteristics such as solubility. So these are the characteristics of minerals. They can be chemical characteristics or physical characteristics. So we have discussed what are minerals and they can be classified into more than 3000 types. But in this chapter we will identify them in two types, that are metallic and non-metallic minerals. So metallic minerals. Metallic minerals means that any mineral that has metal in it. For example, iron ore, or you can say that gold, silver, copper, zinc. These are all the metals that have metal in it. These are all the minerals that have metal in it, and so that we will classify them into metallic minerals. And even in metallic minerals we can classify them into two types, like ferrous and non-ferrous minerals. So ferrous minerals are those type of metallic minerals that have iron in them. Like for example, iron ore, copper, these all have iron in them, and thus we call them ferrous minerals, ferrous metallic minerals. And non-ferrous minerals are those type of minerals that don't have any iron in them. Like they have metal in it, but they don't have iron in them. For example, such as gold, silver, they don't contain any type of iron in them. So that's why we will call them non-ferrous metallic minerals. And the next classification of minerals is non-metallic minerals. Non-metallic minerals that don't have any metal in them, like coal, petroleum, they don't have any metal in them, so that we will classify them into non-metallic minerals. So minerals can be classified into two types, metallic and non-metallic, and even in metallic we can classify them into ferrous and non-ferrous minerals. Now we will discuss about their extraction of minerals. So extraction of minerals can be done into three types, that are mining, drilling and quarrying. So mining, first is mining. First type of extracting the minerals is of mining. So in mining what we do is that we dig the earth and take out rocks from it. Rocks that are minerals that are in the form of rocks. So for example, mining can also be done into two types, that is open cast mining and shaft mining. So in open cast mining, so suppose there is a surface, there is earth surface, and there is any mineral in it with a very shallow depth, that is not at a very greater depth. So if it is a very shallow depth, minerals are present at a very shallow depth, then we will just dig the earth and take out that rock, that minerals that are in the form of rocks. So that is what is called as open cast mining. And next can be shaft mining. So suppose the minerals are at a very greater depth, then what we will do, that that we will build shafts, and from those shafts we will take out those rocks, minerals that are in the form of rocks. So that is called as shaft mining. So mining is one of the process of taking out, of extracting the minerals, and even in mining there can be two types, that are open cast mining and shaft mining. Now next process is drilling. So drilling, what do you mean by drilling? So you know that petroleum and natural gas are present in Earth's surface at a very greater depth, and to take them out what we do is drilling. So drilling is mainly for the petroleum, oil, or you can say that natural gas. So for those the process for the extraction of oil, petroleum and natural gas is called as drilling. We drill out them from the Earth's surface. And the next and last process of taking out, of extracting minerals is quarrying. Quarrying is very simple method. You know that if there is any mineral present on Earth's surface, not inside the Earth's surface, it is lying on the Earth's surface, then what we will do is that we will simply take them out, we will simply dig them out. So that is quarrying. We take them out by the process of quarrying, that are present, minerals that are present on the Earth's surface, we take them simply by doing the process of quarrying. So we have discussed about minerals and their extraction. Extraction can be done in three types that we have discussed. So now next we will discuss about distribution of minerals. Distribution of minerals. So as I have already said that there is uneven distribution of minerals, and now we will discuss about their distribution in rocks. So metallic minerals are usually found in metamorphic rocks or igneous rocks. So you know that you have already studied about what are metamorphic rocks and igneous rocks. So metallic minerals are usually found in them, like in the region of Africa or in Canada, and the non-metallic minerals are usually found in sedimentary rocks in the region of Germany, in the region of America. They are found in many countries, many continents or countries. You can say whatever you want. So they are found in many regions, but there is uneven distribution of minerals. And if we talk about coal and petroleum, they are mainly found in the region of Saudi Arabia or Iran, Iraq, Qatar. So these are the countries and continents where there is distribution, where there many types of minerals are found. And now we will discuss about the continents, in which continents which minerals are found in large amount, the major production of minerals in continents. So our first continent is Asia. So if we talk about Asia, Asia is one of the leading producers of iron ore. Iron ore, what do you mean by ore? You might have heard this word ore many times. So ore means a substance, a mineral. Ore is a type of mineral from which the substance can be extracted very easily, very profitably, so that so much of the substance is not wasted. So ore is kind of that mineral. So iron ore, Asia is one of the most leading producers of iron ore. And Asia, if we talk about Asia, Asia produces more than half of the tin of the world. You know that China, Malaysia and Indonesia in Asia continent are the countries that produces so much tin, and because of that Asia produces more than half of the tin production of the world. And China also leads in the production of lead, in the production of antimony and tungsten. So this is the condition, this is the situation of Asia in the production of minerals. And later on, further on in this chapter, we will also discuss about India, about the minerals that are found in India. So now our next continent is Europe. So as you know that in Europe there are also minerals, that are found. You know that Europe produces so much iron ore. Europe is the largest producer of iron ore, and in Russia, in European Russia. So as you know that Russia is the largest country of the world, so the some part of Russia is also in the Europe, and we call that Ukraine. So in Ukraine, European Russia, there are so much minerals like nickel, like zinc, like copper, like gold. These are all the minerals that are found in Europe. Now our next and third continent is North America. North America. So North America, there are three divided mineral zones that are, first is Canadian region, or it is also called as Canadian Shield region, and in that region the minerals that are found are iron ore, nickel, copper, gold, uranium. So this is the first mineral zone of North America continent, and next mineral zone of North America continent is Appalachian region. Appalachian region, that is around the west of North America, and in that area, in that region, mainly there is coal minerals, coal production. So in that region, if you ask, then there would be only one mineral, one major mineral. There can be least minerals, but if you say major minerals, then it would be coal. And the third and last mineral zone of North America is mountain ranges or West Cordilleras, and in that region the most major foundly minerals are copper, nickel, zinc. These are all the minerals deposits that are found in North America continent. So these are mainly the most major production minerals in those continents. There can be some other productions, there can be some other mineral deposits as well, but they are not as the major at international level. So our next continent is South America. South America. So in South America as well, there have been so much mineral deposits. So in South America, there is a country that is Brazil. Brazil is the leading producer of iron ore. Brazil is the leading producer of high quality grade iron ore. You know that there have been so much leading producers of iron ore, but Brazil is the leading producer of high quality grade iron ore, and Brazil and Bolivia produces so much tin. You know that Brazil and Bolivia are the leading producers of tin. You know that in Asia there have been production, there have been deposits of more than half of the tin, and the remaining part, and the most of the remaining part is in Brazil and Bolivia. And if you say that, if you ask in the South America, there are many countries like Chile and Peru. They are the leading producers, they are the largest producers of copper in the world. So you know that there have been so much deposits in South America as well. There have been other deposits as well. There have been other mineral deposits as well. You know that iron ore, copper, zinc, uranium, these are all other minerals that are found in South America. So in South America as well, there have been so much mineral deposits. Like oil is also found in South America. Oil or petroleum, you can say that in South America, like in Venezuela or Argentina, there have been oil deposits as well. So in South America, minerals, so much minerals like copper, like tin, like you can say that oil, like uranium, like platinum, like gold and silver, they are all, manganese also are found in South America. These are the rich mineral deposits in South America. Now our next continent is Africa. So Africa also has a rich deposits of minerals. You know that in Africa there are so minerals like uranium, platinum, gold, silver, diamonds. You know that Africa is the leading producer of diamonds in the world, and there have been so much rich deposits of minerals in Africa. Like oil is also found in the Nigeria, Libya, Angola countries of Africa continent. So in Africa as well, there have been, and Africa is also the leading producer of gold and diamonds. You know that gold and diamonds are mainly found in Africa. So you can say that Africa is also one of the major deposits with the major deposits of minerals in it. Now our next continent is Australia. So Australia has also rich deposits of minerals. It also has the gold, silver and diamonds. You know that Australia has a leading producer of golds as well. There would be less diamonds, but there are so much gold. There is rich deposits of gold in Australia, and the regions like Coorgadi and Kalgoorlie are also famous for their rich deposits of minerals in it. So Australia is also one of the continents that has the minerals in it, and mainly the minerals that are found in Australia are platinum, gold, diamonds and chromium and manganese and bauxite as well. You know that from bauxite we make aluminium. So there are rich deposits of minerals in Australia as well. And you know that we are calling in Australia, but you know that the name of that continent is Oceania. We call it Australia because Australia is the biggest country in that continent and others are small islands. But if we see the international name of that continent, it is Oceania. So don't be confused with Oceania and Australia name. They are same but the names are different. Now our next and last continent is Antarctica. Antarctica. So as you know that Antarctica, that is very frozen region. There are so much snow in that region, glaciers in that region. So we have not access to the minerals in that region, but we have predicted some minerals that can be there. There have been forecastings of minerals, like there are so many minerals like bauxite, chromium, uranium. They can be found in Antarctica, in the Transantarctic region of Antarctica continent. But you know that we don't have any access to it, but maybe in future we can find it. There are only forecastings about the minerals in Antarctica. So we have discussed about the distribution of minerals of all the 7 continents, and we have seen that in which continents which manganese, which kind of minerals are found. So our next topic is distribution in India. Distribution in India. So as we have discussed about the distribution all over the world, all the continents of the minerals, we have discussed about the distribution of minerals. Now we will discuss about the distribution of minerals precisely in India. We will discuss only in India in which states or regions those minerals that are given are found. So our first minerals or subtopic is iron. So our first is iron. You know that India is also the major producing of iron ore, and there are many states where iron ore is found, and those states are Jharkhand, Odisha, Goa, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. Now these are the states where the major production, where the major deposits of iron ore is found. Now next is bauxite. Bauxite, that is also one of the minerals and from which we make aluminium. So bauxite is also found in India, and the states where it is found are Jharkhand, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, and in Chhattisgarh as well. So you know that Jharkhand, in both the Jharkhand is common. Now in many states of India, in many states, mostly the most of the minerals are found in Jharkhand. You know that mostly the most minerals of India are found in Jharkhand. Now our next is mica. So mica is also found in India, and the states where it is found are Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh and Rajasthan. Now these are the major minerals, major states that are found in which this mineral mica is found. And mica is India is also the biggest and exporter, biggest producer as well as exporter of mica in the world. You know that India is the biggest country producer of mica and also is the biggest exporter of it. Now our next mineral is copper. So copper, the states where this mineral is found in India are Jharkhand, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh as well. So these are the states where copper is found in India. Now next is manganese. So states like that Rajasthan, that Madhya Pradesh, these are the states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, these are the states where this metal, this mineral is found, that is manganese. Manganese is also found, and mainly it is found in Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Now these are the major states where it is found. So now next mineral is limestone. So the states where it is found in India are Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. Now these are the states where it is found. Now next is gold. So if we talk about gold, it is mainly found in the coal mines of Karnataka. You know that coal mines of Karnataka are famous for gold all over India, and that is a major reason where the gold mines are. Gold is present, gold is found. And now next and last is salt. So you know that salt, it is obtained from seas and oceans. So mainly it is not given the state, not particular state. Any state which is touched with the ocean or sea border, that can be obtained salt, you know that. And in Rajasthan there is a Sambhar lake where the salt is produced, salt is obtained. Now that we have discussed about the distribution of minerals in India, now what you should know is that you should have a practice and experience of marking them on map. You know that it is very crucial, very important for you to mark them on map. So there can be a question that mark the places, mark the regions of India, mark the states of India where this particular mineral is found. So you should know that where that mineral is found, and also to locate them on map. That is the very important part of geography, you know that. And now next topic is use of minerals. Uses of minerals. So you know that minerals are very important for us, and they are also very useful. You know that we use in our daily life, in everyday life. You might not have observed it, but you are using minerals around you. So as I've talked about bauxite, you know that from bauxite we make aluminium, and as you know that from aluminium kitchen cookwares, you know that cooker, pressure cooker and many utensils are made from aluminium. So are using it in everyday life. And you know about copper. Copper is, everything is made from copper, from coins to pipes. So you know that copper is also very important for us. And many more minerals, you know that gold, silver, they are used for jewelry. You know that gold, silver and diamonds are used all over the world for jewelry, ornaments. So minerals are very important for us. And you know that petroleum, oil, they are also used for some useful things. So there are so much uses of minerals. Now our next topic is conservation of minerals. Conservation of minerals. So as I've said that there are so much uses of minerals, now they can be exhausted. We have to conserve them as well because they are non-renewable resources. So we have to conserve, and there is a very unique method to conserve them, that is of 3 R's, that are reduce, reuse and recycle. Reduce, that we have to reduce our consumption of minerals, and reuse, you know that if you have bought something and in that particle in that item you have a can or you have any bottle, now you can reuse it. You have to reuse them as well. And third R is recycle. Now you have to recycle as well. We have to recycle items, we have to recycle bags, all things we have to recycle. So there is act and think, that is 3 R's method: reduce, reuse and recycle. Now we have to conserve minerals, and there are so much facts about minerals as well. Like you know that Switzerland is a country where there is no mineral deposit. Isn't that interesting? You know that in Switzerland there are no mineral deposits, and the oldest rocks are found in Australia that are over 4,300 million years back. You know that is so much time period, and it is only 300 years after the earth was formed. So you know that Australia has the oldest rocks deposited in it. And there are so much facts about minerals. You know that you can find any rock in which there is presence of copper. If there is any rock and if there is copper present in it, then the color of that rock would be blue. So you can search for it, you can recognize any rock that has copper present in it by checking its color. And you know that if we talk about diamonds, the green diamonds are the rarest diamonds. You know that they are rarely to be found. So if anyone asks which is the rarest diamond, then it would be green diamonds. And you know that Australia is a leading producer, Africa is a leading producer of diamonds. Australia and Africa are the leading producers of diamonds. So now we have discussed about minerals. We have discussed types of minerals, we have discussed about the distribution of minerals, and in India as well, in the continents as well, and in the India as well. And we have discussed about the uses. You know that you use minerals in everyday life, and we have to adopt methods to conserve them as well. Now our next topic is power resources. Power resources. So what are power resources? First question raises, what are power resources? So power resources are those resources that help us to perform various activities. For example, you know that electricity, it is also one of the power resources. And why it is power resources? Because you know that because of the electricity, you are using your mobile phones or laptops or tablets. So you know that power resources are any resources that help us to perform various activities. And there can be two classifications of power resources, that are conventional power resources and next is non-conventional power resources. So first we will discuss about conventional power resources. Conventional power resources are those power resources that have been used traditionally. You know that the meaning of conventional is traditionally, if we see in the dictionary. So anything that is being used traditionally over a long period of time, since for a very long time, then it would be a conventional power resources. Like you can say that tidal power, or there are many sources of conventional power resources, and we will discuss later on. So these are the conventional, and many of the conventional, they have been assuming that the conventional power resources are exhausted, can be exhausted, are non-renewable. So conventional power resources are those resources that are being used traditionally for a very long period of time, and most of the conventional resources, not all, most of the conventional resources can be exhausted. Now our first conventional power resource is firewood. So as you know that firewood, that is very important in villages of India. You know that more than 50% of the villagers' energy for the resources to work comes from firewood, and it is used for heating and cooking. You know that firewood is also a conventional source of energy. You know that because it is used from traditionally. You know that even in history for a very long period of time this was used. So firewood is also a conventional type of source energy power resources, and is mainly used by villagers in villages in rural areas of India. And the firewood, if we talk about firewood, then comes the second word into our mind, that is fossil fuels. So what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels, so you can say that many years back, many million years back, 1,000 years back, when there were trees, there were animals, and they all became dead and were buried under the earth. And after many years, 1,000 years, million years, what they became was fossil fuels. You can say that many years back they were buried under the earth, and after many years the layers of soil covered it and then covered it, there have been become so many layers of soil, and after that they became fossil fuels. And fossil fuels are the types of conventional resources that can be exhausted. As I've already said that most of the conventional resources, there have been there have been proclaims that the conventional resources are those resources that can be exhausted, but not in all cases. So now our next type of sources, next conventional energy is coal. So as I've already said that fossil fuels. So coal is also one of the types of fossil fuel, and that we use for many purposes, like in heating, like for making electricity. And you know that the process, the power from which the electricity is made from coal is called as thermal power. We make thermal power from coal, and that we use as electricity. So coal is also a type of power resource because we are using it for making electricity. And there are many reasons, many countries of the world that are the major producers of coal, like US, Germany, Russia, Canada, China. These are the countries where coal is mainly found. And if we talk about the reasons of India, then the reasons that are mainly to be found of coal are Raniganj, Takoban. These are the mainly the reasons. Jharia is also the reason in Jharkhand that can be found of coal. That is a major producer of coal in India. So we have discussed about coal. We produce thermal power from coal, and that we generate electricity from it, we generate power from it, we generate heat from it. So that is also a power resource and a kind of conventional power resource, because you know that coal that we use today, everyday life, it was made millions years back. And now you know that if there is any, we have to bury it, we have to bury the dead struck animals, we have to bury trees, and then it would become coal million years after now. And what we do is that if there is any dead tree, what we do is we use it to make furniture, and now it is getting exhausted. Coal is getting exhausted. And there are disadvantages of coal as well, thermal power as well, and that it is a pollution. They make pollution so much and are bulky in transport. You know that coal, it is so bulky for transportation, and also it makes so pollutions, air pollutions, you know that. So that is what is coal. We have discussed about coal. Now our next source of energy is petroleum. So let us first clear a difference between petroleum and petrol. Now many students get confused between petroleum and petrol. Now these are two different things. Petroleum is a different thing and petrol is different thing. Petrol is diverted. Petrol is the item made from petroleum, not they are the same things. Now petroleum, that is found beneath the earth's surface. You know that between many layers of the earth's surface it is found. And petroleum is a kind of crude oil. You know that in many movies you might have seen a black thick substance like oil. That is what is a petroleum, crude oil. It is also called as crude oil. And now petroleum is taken out from the earth by the method of drilling. You know that, as I've already said, that drilling is used to take out the petroleum, oil and coal. So petroleum is taken out from earth by the process of drilling, and from petroleum there are many items that can be made, like wax, like kerosene, like petrol, like diesel, like oil. These are all made from petroleum. And petroleum is also called as black gold, because you know that it is in black color, it is called as black, and its value is so much. so it is compared with gold, so that's why it is called as black gold. And we call coal as a buried sunshine. Buried sunshine, that means it was buried million years back and it came to us as a sunshine. It makes happy everyone, it is useful to everyone, so we call coal as a buried sunshine and we call petroleum as a black gold. Now there are disadvantages of petroleum as well. You know that when it is taken out from the earth, it spread many intoxicants in the air, in the atmosphere, like it makes the greenhouse effect, it makes pollution in the atmosphere. So the petroleum is also useful to us. You know that petroleum, oil, these are all made from the petroleum. It is useful to us, but there are disadvantages as well. Now our next topic is natural gas. Natural gas. So natural gas is to be found where there is petroleum or was petroleum. Now natural gas are always above the petroleum. There is to be found natural gas. You know that petroleum is beneath the earth's surface, beneath the layers of earth's surface, and beneath the petroleum what there is mantle, and beneath it there is molten magma. And what molten magma does is that it produces heat, and from that heat this petroleum, this crude oil gas evaporated, and those evaporations are natural gas. So what we have learned is that molten magma produces heat, and from that heat the petroleum gas evaporated, and that evaporations, water vapors, petroleum vapors are natural gas that we use in our daily life. You know that CNG, compressed natural gas, is also a type of petroleum. It's also a type of natural gas that we use in our kitchens. So CNG is an eco-friendly kind of natural gas. So that is what is natural gas. Now as we have talked about natural gas, there are very few countries that they have their own reservoirs of natural gas. You know that in all over the earth there are still many few countries that have their own reserves of natural gas, and the countries that have their own reserves that have natural gas that are producing more and more natural gas are to be UK, and there are many countries like the Nigeria, like Algeria. These are the countries where mainly the natural gas is to be found, can be made. And in India there are still many regions like Jaisalmer, like the Tripura region, and the deltas of rivers of Godavaris and Kavaris. So these are the regions in India where there is natural gas can be found. And now what we have to do is that natural gas, as you know, that is leading towards the pollution. Now we have to decrease it, and now that we are burning fossil fuels, and because of that toxicants get mixed in atmosphere. Now we have to stop that. It is because of that we are exhausting our fossil fuels. You know that fossil fuels can be get exhausted, and it takes a very long time for them to get renewed. So we have to conserve them as well. Now our next source of energy is tidal power. Tidal power, you might have heard this word so many times. So in tidal power, what is meant by tidal power is that we make electricity from water. You know that tidal here means the water. So we make electricity from water, and how we make it is that we make hydroelectricity, water electricity, and we make it by simply doing a thing. That is, there is a process for making it, and that is that, you know that we make dams. We build dams up above the rivers, oceans, and we make dams, and we make reservoirs for that water to get reserved. You know that we make dams, and there is a water reservoir that reserves water, and from that reservoir what we make is a tunnel, and from that tunnel water gets into that, and after that in the opening of that water tunnel there is a turbine, and from the water flow, from the very fast water flow, the turbine gets rotated, and turbine is connected to the generators, to the grid system of making electricity. And as soon as the turbine gets rotated, after that the electricity is generated, because it gets rotated, and what it makes is heat. It makes heat, and from that heat in the grid system electricity is made, and after that wires are to be connected with the supplies of citizens of that area. So that is how we make hydroelectricity, electricity from water, and we call it tidal power. And you might have been thinking that the water that gets into the tunnel, where does it go? It goes through the canals of the agricultural fields. You know that it is used for the irrigation purpose. So water is helping, is multitasking, is doing multitask. Now what it is doing is it is rotating turbine from its very fast flow, and after that it goes to agricultural fields for irrigation. Now there you might be thinking that it is very advantageous for us, but there are disadvantages of it as well. You know that there are benefits of tidal power, but there are disadvantages as well. Like when we make dams, when we build dams, the whole cities and the whole villages near that area has to be vacated, otherwise the flow of water will smash all citizens away. So to build dams, we have to evacuate all the people around that area, around that water body, and that is the biggest disadvantage, because many people have to shift their homes from there to here to there. So that is the disadvantage of tidal power. Otherwise it is useful to us, and the countries that are famous, that are the leading producers of tidal power are Paraguay, UK, Nigeria. They are the countries, USA as well. Now these are the countries where tidal power generally is produced, generally is generated. Now that we have discussed our conventional resources, conventional power resources, next are non-conventional power resources. Non-conventional power resources, they cannot be exhausted. Most of the non-conventional power resources cannot be exhausted, don't exhaust, but not all of them. Now there have been assumings, there have been proclaims that non-conventional source of energies don't get exhausted, and they are not being used by traditionally over a very long period of time. So that is what we call non-conventional resources, just as opposite of conventional power resources. And in this, first we will discuss about solar energy. Solar energy, that is very beneficial for us. You know that what is solar energy? In solar energy is that we make energy from the heat, from the light of sun. You know that sun gives rays, and from that rays heat and the light is given to us, and from that we make power, we make the energy like electricity, we make electricity. And you know that you might have been seeing that the solar panels, we make solar panels, and from those solar panels the sun's rays, the sun's heat gets converted into electricity. And nowadays solar items like solar cookwares, like solar traffic lights have become more and more popular. So nowadays solar energy is being used much more. So in solar energy, mostly what is done is that we make cells, we make panels for solar energy, for solar heat from the sun's heat, and it gets converted directly into electricity. There is no very big infrastructure for it like we make in water electricity, hydroelectricity, or in any other. So what we have to do, it is a very easiest way to convert the solar energy into our electricity or in any other energy, and it can't get exhausted. You know that sun's rays, sun's light, sun's heat is a natural phenomena, so it can't be exhausted, it can't get exhausted. Now our next topic is wind energy. So wind energy. So what is wind energy? So mainly in wind energy, what we do is that we make electricity, we make energy from the winds. In many areas you might have seen windmills. So as the speed of wind gets increased, the windmills will rotate like this, and from that there is a generation of heat, there is a generation of energy, and those windmills are connected to the generators, and from those generators the heat that was conducted by wind gets converted into electricity. For example, they are mainly to be found in India in the coastal areas and in mountain areas, because in those areas there is a very increasing speed of wind, and you know that in those areas we set up windmills field. Windmills farms means that you know that at the same time we build 25 to 30 windmills, and they get rotated by the wind flow, and from that wind flow the heat is conducted, and from that heat that is conducted it goes to the generator, and generator generated it into electricity, and that goes to your home or any other's home. So that is what is wind energy, and in India they are mainly to be found in mountain regions or in coastal regions. So wind energy is also useful to us, and there are so many disadvantages of wind energy. You know that it makes noise pollution. Just think about that. If at the same time there are 25 to 30 windmills and they are rotating at the same time, then wouldn't it make sound? So that is noise pollution as well, and it is very expensive as well. So now our next non-conventional source of energy is nuclear power. Now don't get confused into nuclear power and nuclear bombs. Now nuclear power means that we have to make power, we make energy, people make energy, scientists make energy from the nuclei of the atoms of uranium and thorium. Now for the process of making of nuclear power, two metals can be used, that are uranium and thorium, that are the most important, and from the atoms nuclei of those metals, of those minerals, we generate heat, we generate energy, and that is what we call nuclear power. And nuclear power, the major producers of nuclear power are USA and Europe. Now USA and Europe are the leading producers of nuclear power, and in India uranium is found in Jharkhand and Rajasthan, as I've already discussed, and thorium is found basically in Tamil Nadu or in any other region. Now these are found, and the major stations of nuclear power in India are in Tarapur in the Maharashtra and near Kota in Rajasthan. Now in Tamil Nadu as well, Kalapakkam in Tamil Nadu as well. Now these are the major stations of nuclear power in India. So nuclear power, that we have to make power, make energy from the nuclei of atoms of uranium and thorium. Now next source of non-conventional energy is geothermal energy or geothermal power. So geothermal energy, in geothermal energy heat is conducted, energy is conducted or heat is conducted from the earth's surface, beneath the earth's surface, inside the earth's surface. You know that as much as we go deeper into the earth's surface, the temperature will rise. You know that because in the middle of earth's surface there is molten magma that is very hot. So as long as much we go deeper in the earth's surface, the temperature will rise, and because of that, hot springs, you know that geothermal energy can be in the form of hot springs that we use in cooking and in our daily life. And the major countries of the geothermal energy are US, are many countries like Russia, Canada. These are also the countries where geothermal energy is produced. Now in India, in Ladakh and in Himachal Pradesh. These are the two major states, these are the two major regions where there is producing of geothermal energy. Geothermal energy, in the simple language you can define it as the energy from the earth's surface. Geo means earth and thermal means power or energy or heat. So that is what we call geothermal energy. Now our next topic is tidal energy. So tidal energy, what do you mean by tidal energy? Now first let us discuss about tides. As you know that because of the gravitational pull of sun and moon, tides are caused, tides are to be conserved, tides are to be made because of the gravitational pull of sun and moon, and because of that tides are formed. Now they are the rhythmic rise and fall of water of oceans or seas, and there is in a day there is a high tide and low tide, and when we build dams, and if tide is at its high temperature, it is a high tide. If it is a high tide, then what we do is that we make its flow during the turbine, we make its flow towards the turbine, and because of that turbine gets rotated, and it's the same procedure. Now the turbines get rotated and the power, the heat would go to the generator, to the grid system, and from that electricity would be produced. So that is tidal energy. We make heat, we make energy from the tides. Whenever there are high tides, then what we do that, you know that in the dams there is gap, there are holes, there are diggings, and from those diggings the water goes towards the turbine and turbines get rotated, and the same procedure will be continued. So that is tidal energy. And in India there are also some areas where there are tidal energy resources, there are tidal energy stations. So as we have discussed about tidal energy, and the countries where there are more tidal stations are Russia, France and the Run of Kutch of India. Now these are the major producers of tidal energy, and France was the first country to create tidal energy. So these are the major producers which make tidal energy. Now our next and last topic of this chapter is biogas. Biogas. Now you might have studied a little bit about it or heard about it. Now we shall discuss it in depth. Now biogas is a kind of fuel that we use for cooking and heating. Now biogas is made from the organic waste, animal dungs, deadly livestock and from the kitchen wastages. A fuel is made from all these and we call that a biogas. Now biogas is so much eco-friendly. It doesn't create any kind of pollution, and it is generally used in the rural areas of India. So biogas is also being made, and it is generally used in rural areas. Now that we have discussed about biogas, and it is a kind of very eco-friendly. You know that biogas and the remaining of those wastages goes to be made as manure. You know that fuel has been made, but what about the remaining portion of those wastages? It is emitted, it is converted into manure by the bacteria or germs. So you know that biogas is being useful for in every field, and we have discussed this. This is all about the chapter. We have discussed everything in this chapter. We have discussed about the minerals, about the power resources. We have discussed about the conventional source of energy and non-conventional source of energy. And in the whole chapter we have seen some facts like the green diamonds are the rarest ones. We have seen that Australia is a country which has the oldest rocks. We have seen that France was the first country to make tidal energy stations, and Norway was the first country to conduct hydroelectricity. So that is what we have seen in this whole chapter. We have discussed mineral in all depth. We have discussed all its subtopics and topics as well, and we have discussed about power resources as well and distribution of them as well. So this is all about the chapter. I have discussed all topics and subtopics, and the next chapters will be covered in the further videos. So thank you very much.